You know, I remember my first time watching the Power Rangers movie like it was yesterday, right? Like I was 16 years old, I was with a group of friends, I was watching it like on the big screen, not IMAX, it was like CXC, which is like the Puerto Rican version of that. It's weird. But after the years of hype and all the trailers and like all the funny Snapchat filters.
Help! Ah, the bees, my eyes! Oh, there they are.
It was finally time to sit down and watch the movie, and hell, did I have a great time. However, if me and my friends had a crazy time, the same couldn't be said about critics and people around the world, because this movie flopped horribly. Box office bomb, explosion, like the Kalish-splosion, that's how much of a bomb this was. This movie was quite literally the tipping point for Saban, the original creator and owner of Power Rangers, to sell the whole franchise over to Hasbro. Just clean his hands out of it. This movie was quickly forgotten in the minds of the people. Why is that? And the thing is, I never really watched the movie after my initial first time. So here I am 5 years later with a whole Blu-ray disc of the movie. Me and a couple of friends, we took a watch of this movie to really see why was this a box office flop, and did it deserve canceling like those 6 sequels that they were gonna plan. Yo, what's up everybody, it's Este here, and today we'll be giving the Power Rangers 2017 movie a second chance, a second viewing, and to see has it really held up in 5 years. But in order to get deep into the 2017 Power Rangers movie, we gotta talk about everything that led up to the release of the film in the first place. Because all the information giving out to this movie was very slow. The movie was announced in May of 2014 with Lionsgate being the helm of production, with the cast not being revealed until October of 2015, and a cast photo coming March of 2016. And while May brought us the reveal of the Power Ranger suit designs, we didn't actually get a trailer for this movie until October of 2016. A whole 5 months before the movie was supposed to release in theaters nationwide. But by the time March came around, Lionsgate and Power Rangers had to go up against Disney, as they had a live-action reboot of Beauty and the Beast alongside the highly anticipated sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy, all coming out in March. The trailer would release with not a lot of hype outside the Power Rangers fan base, as a lot of people didn't really know the movie was going to come out until a week before release. And that fact is actually very true, as someone who was in high school in the 10th grade when everyone's talking about the latest MCU movies or what's going on the CW, no one was talking about the Power Rangers movie at all. I'm the only one who knew about that Snapchat filter too.
Yo, yeah, I'm ready. Yo, this is lit. You see this shit?
There wasn't really a lot of hype, and there wasn't really a lot of marketing push until like a week before the film and when the film actually came out. So like literally the movie came into people's minds and left the same week. But the problem wasn't just in marketing, it was also in the toys. Toys would begin to pop up on the shelves months before the movie came out in the fall of 2016. I myself actually went up to New York Comic Con that year in New York City to go check out all the stuff that Bandai had released. I had gotten my hands on the first ever Legacy Movie Red Ranger that I loved so much. It came with a power coin to it, and they also gave us a free power coin in the booth. It's Billy's helmet.
You see it? You see it? Ahaha, it's rusty. Look, Power Rangers logo.
Lionsgate also held a panel that year with the cast of the Rangers, which was so cool, just seeing all of them in front of me. Like, I hadn't even been to Power Morphicon yet, so that was crazy to me. That was really crazy. I just love seeing all the development of this movie, but I noticed it was really slow and really hectic, really out of control. And that's because I think Bandai of America was trying to toku-size, did I just create a new verb, toku-size? An edgy teen live action superhero film, really a movie that did not fall under the rules of a regular tokusatsu show. For the movie's toy line, some of its highlights were obviously its main line of figures, as well as the highly articulated Legacy line of figures and this interactive Megazord that released. But the thing was that none of these toys were really selling. The fact that I could have bought that 6-pack of Power Rangers movie figures online for very cheap, not even months after the movie came out, it's kind of sad, disappointing. Bandai of America knew that the movie wasn't giving them a lot to work with in terms of toys, so they were lacking extremely. The Rangers didn't even have a proper Morpher or a Megazord transformation sequence. However, they did release both a movie Morpher with power coins as well as a combining Megazord in parts, which the combining Megazord looks very ugly and not like the movie Megazord or the actual movie, the deluxe interactive toy, which is a lot better. Hold on. Before we continue talking about this movie, I want to make sure one thing, that you're part of the E-Squad. That's right, the best squad ever on YouTube. Just subscribe and ring the notification bell to join the E-Squad today. I upload Power Ranger videos, so I'm assuming you don't want to miss them. But marketing and toys aside, we're finally here. We're finally seeing the movie for a second time. So let's give it a review. Is it worth a watch? I'd say so, but let me explain. Even though the last time I saw this movie when I was 16 years old, 5 years later I still found myself laughing and having a great time. The movie still has its problems, of course. Like no Rangers for a majority of the film, the excessive amount of Krispy Kreme advertisement, and awkward pacing with the training and bonding of the team, as well as a lot of unexplained moments, the weird mechanics of the Zords and the combinations, etc. However, I still had a great time, which sounds very counterintuitive to every complaint that I just said. I think it's because I came back to the 2017 movie as a lighthearted, family, fun, comedy, adventure time thing, instead of this gritty teenager superhero movie, which I think is probably not what Lionsgate intended to do with this film. They tried to divert the silly nature of the Power Rangers series and tried to give it a more super mature look, which ended up making it look silly still at the end of the day. Regardless of that fact, the cast held this movie down, and their moments together of bonding are so beautiful. Their on-screen chemistry was one of the best things that came out of this film. But no good cast can stop the fact that this sometimes feels like a parody of the source material. Lionsgate and Saban played it safe in a way that had the use of the original Mighty Morphin characters from the show with new stories and unique differences, which made this a gray area for the means of full originality. But personally, I thought it was the best way to do a film like this, and also the best way to promote it. So the fact that it flopped is still kind of weird to me. Like, they tweaked the characters just enough to make them original and different from their 90s counterparts, just adding more like, mature elements, like, I don't know, Jason getting arrested and Kimberly getting in girl drama. But honestly, I say this because the best character of this film is Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, who to me personally, like, Billy is the heart and soul of this movie. I loved him so much. Trini was also good for that representation fact. I feel like Zach kind of got left out, just, his mom and whatnot. But hey, not all of them can be winners. Comment question of the day though, who was your favorite character from the 2017 Power Rangers movie? Let me know in the comments down below, and leave a like to lock in your answer. 1,500 likes and I'll upload more videos. You know who is a winner though? Alpha 5, which I think was still funny in this film. I laughed at a few of his jokes. Zordon I didn't like. I felt like Zordon was a jerk and very selfish. I didn't enjoy that part. As for the villain side of things, Rita was okay. I think she did a good job. Had her big moments, as villainous and being evil and whatnot, just feeling like an indestructible force. Goldar, on the other hand, I still do not understand why Goldar was just turned into a gold blob. I get it, Goldar, but it's A, not funny, B, bad idea, and C, ratio, okay? But as the audience were hours without any real Ranger action in the film, it's also just a real shame we didn't get to see the suits more, especially with their helmets on. There's a lot of times in this film where, like, they have the helmets off, like their visor, phew, it's off. Like, why? Put them back on. I want to see some action. Come on. And I like when these moments happen in like an actual Power Rangers series, because there's not a lot of moments where like they take off their visor and talk. But in this movie it happened too much. And yes, we of course have to mention that there is an uncomfortable amount of Krispy Kreme mentions in this film still. I think that is hilarious in a way, and that is one of the big reasons why I consider this a parody in some ways. Now, even though Krispy Kreme wholeheartedly was the biggest partner of the film, providing limited edition flavors for a limited time at their locations, which I tried by the way, very delicious. I enjoyed them, and I miss them a lot. Bring them back. But I don't know how any higher up at Lionsgate or Saban and saw all these mentions like, this is weird, guys. I think the audience might know this. We're pushing Krispy Kreme a little too much, mentioning it by name and all. But glazed donuts aside, they had a lot of elements from the Power Rangers universe and wrapped it all together in a nice little present. Sticking in the Zeo crystals for one, that's a big one. The story of the Green Ranger and how Rita was actually the original Green Ranger, which I think was one of the coolest parts of the film. I wish we had a toy about that. All we got was a pop. I need a legacy figure of that. Or I guess Lightning Collection now, Hasbro. You know what to do. Ultimately, do I think this movie is as good as everyone on Twitter says it is every other week? Oh my god, the Power Rangers 2017 movie, so underrated, so underrated. That's not like Kermit the Frog. Kermit, why are you so mad? I think everyone saying this film is underrated is kind of giving it some overratedness to me, because like I get where you guys are going at. Good cast, good possibilities. They had all the plots, you know, they had all the basis for what could have been a great cinematic universe. But the movie was still kind of mid in its own ways. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. As a Power Rangers fan, I had a good time. But my friends who aren't Power Ranger fans, they can see why it's mid. However, for the cast and chemistry alone of them, and also just that third act of when they're actually doing Power Ranger stuff, I would gladly give this film another watch still, because, you know, I'm a Power Rangers fan at heart, and this is a piece of history, and, you know, it should be talked about more, and we should acknowledge the existence of this Rangers and this universe more often. Like, they had their little, you know, aftermath comic book type thing, but I would love to see where the adventures of these Rangers lead next, especially in a comic book form if that's possible. And come on, the big tease with Tommy Oliver and the desk and like with this green jacket, like come on, like they were literally setting this up. They even were like, you know, Tommy could be a girl. My first moment of doom when I got worried about this film was I was in the cafeteria one day. I heard the embargo went up, and I was looking at all these critic reviews, and a lot of these people were blaming this on the bad writing, which, by the way, those writers now made Morbius, which is another horrible movie. So I guess we should have seen it coming, folks. And also director Dean, who had only done 2 movies prior to Power Rangers, so, you know, then nobody else wanted to do this movie. So even though I watched it and had a great time, not a lot of people watched it at all and just moved on to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So the movie only gained $85 million stateside, but its last hopes were the international audiences. However, in some bad luck, surprisingly, the biggest L was not the United States market, but for the Power Rangers movie, it was China. With China having the second biggest movie population in the world, it's a no-brainer why some Hollywood movies want to pander to China in a way, because their movie sales can mean a lot into the success of a film. I actually found this Twitter thread on why they flopped so hard in the marketing of the 2017 movie in China. Let's read it up. The promotion of 2017 Power Rangers movie in China is a disaster. They invited Dimash Kudaibergen, the most popular singer in China, to sing the song, but didn't mention anything about the movie and the original 90s series. The movie's social media account was actually controlled by a fan of Dimash who only tweets everything except the movie itself. They invited Ludi to the Beijing premiere, but successfully turned it into Dimash's live stream, with fangirls screaming for him instead of the movie, and the actual cast members who were actually there at the, you know, carpet in China, which is funny. Even the poster refers to the Megazord as China's 4 sage beasts, which will be more appropriate if this was the Thunderzord, but it's not. It's a dinosaur. And it seems like this person doesn't want to say the stupidest thing that happened, but they used adult parodies of Power Rangers and called it the original series. What? So the movie fell off essentially for Chinese audiences, and they only cared about the singer doing that his album sold good, which apparently fell off according to this tweet. So L to that guy. Like literally, they weren't even promoting the movie, they were just promoting the dude and his album. So you could have guessed it, the film only made $3.3 million in its opening weekend in China, which if you compare it to a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that made almost $50 million in that weekend, you can see where the problem is. So after flopping in China, their last hope was Japan. We love Japan, right? It's the birthplace of Super Sentai and Tokusatsu. They must love, they're gonna love this movie. You know, at the red carpet, they had the dude from Q Ranger. He was there in suit and everything. We had the original Red Senshi from Zoo Ranger. It was going to be epic, you know, Super Sentai, Power Rangers movie, Japan, reboot, let's go. But no, it failed. Again, didn't even pass $1 million in its Japanese opening. You know, Japan, the home of Super Sentai. The thing was about Japan is that the market was so confused. An article from the Tokusatsu Network actually interviewed Japanese people about this Power Rangers movie, and they were essentially thrown off by this modern day grimy action movie take on their popular Super Sentai series. Especially being it based on the 16th Super Sentai series, which is just a very weird number to you know, adapt, I guess. They would criticize the mechanicalness of the suits and the Megazord and their over-reliance of CGI. I actually want to read out some of these quotes because these are funny. I thought It's Morphin' Time was from Go Busters.
It's morphin' time.
Technically true. Why is Zoo Ranger the motif? Why is America remaking Zoo Ranger? This seems interesting, doesn't it? However, comparing it to Zoo Ranger makes me afraid programs mocking Super Sentai will be made. I think it's good that the number of people interested in Power Rangers will increase, but I don't want people saying it's cool, unlike Japan's Sentai. So ultimately, the Japanese were very disconnected from this film and couldn't really connect to it like American audiences would. Which is ultimately a shame, right? With this movie having an $105 million budget, $85 million was bought from statewide, only $56 million was bought from the international audiences, bringing this up to $142 million, which in theory, you know, 142. They got their money back and like 40 million more. But still, it's a flop because it could have done way more. It's a shame. Dean was trying to put in the groundwork for a whole new Power Rangers universe, a whole new cinematic sequel verse of Ranger movies and probably other teams, but people didn't see the vision and it just fell off horrendously. A year later, Hasbro would buy the franchise from Saban as a whole, now owning it with all their other brands like Transformers and My Little Pony. It's just a little piece of the big puzzle now. And a year after that, in 2019, they would announce a brand new reboot movie with a brand new cast of Rangers, forgetting everything that's happened in the 2017 movie. But I ask you this, D-Squad, how many times have you seen the Power Rangers movie? Is it actually a good movie? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, ddonfuego. I'm also on Instagram, not Don Fuego. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. And of course, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.